Okay. What was I say? I'm doing right now what I call a structured sit down stream because I got to meet my shrink at 6:15 online. I met him in person for the first time last week and was well. But I want to kill an hour because it's almost like first, these streams tend to be a form of distraction. I will admit, but I kind of feel like, well, there's nothing else I can do. I got to see my shrink at 6:15. Might as well just kill this hour. But not accomplishing. And my brother, he's on vacation. He went to the dentist. I think everything went well. No cavities, you just told me. But it's one of these things where, we have things we should ideally be accomplishing. But I got all that thing I read yesterday describes it. When you realize you're like a non-person, it's like, what's the fucking point? Even though there are things I'd like to do, I'd like to get that feeling of, desire to do something back. So maybe this would be, instead of structured sit down stream, I should have called this, pre-shrink stream. I'm just shooting the shit for half hour, 45 minutes, maybe, no more than an hour. So just, there's a nice structure. I will stop this when I have to go talk to my shrink. Maybe I'll upload the video of my shrink, maybe not. Depends on how progressive or how, eye-opening a session it is. If it's a bullshit session, I won't bother. But like I said, so I just want to, I have these thoughts in my head, things I think about. I want to make this video. I want to talk about this. It seems daunting to not only discuss these things, but to put it all together. But I want to make sure I do it right. And when I was younger, I used to walk around with a micro cassette recorder. I may still have it somewhere buried in the annals of this dump, but it broke years ago, and you can't get them anymore. But I used to have one. I used to love it not because I'm pro analog, man. It just, I knew when it was on versus when it was off. When I pause it with a cell phone, you got to record something, and it's like, is it pause? Is it recording? Is it still on? It's not the same. When I'm driving along, smoking a cigarette, I have a thought, I would just pull it out, record it, and I can shut it off. And if I accidentally left it on, I could feel the gears turning. So I miss that aspect of analog. No, it was so much easier to use with a cell phone. I can't tell if it's on or off. Cell phone, of course, is much better for stealth recording, or even recording a sit-down conversation with permission. But when I would have these thoughts, and it's just not the same. Something was lost. Buy me a micro cassette recorder. But so I'm just, just structure. He's home now. He went to the dentist. I told him I'm streaming. He's free to join me if he wants. He knows I got to see my shrink. So he may or may not join me. I don't know. We're thinking about what we want for dinner. I'm not hungry yet. Because last night, he's on vacation. We were up. We were playing Civ 3, getting drunk, listening to music, listening to The Who. We did, I can show you real quick. Because why not? I'm really here to talk about random thoughts. But, I had this, a buddy of mine, or a coworker had this 20-some-odd years ago, and I ripped it. This was The Who Sell Out. But this is the original CD. They re-released it. This is a library's copy. And they have, stereo and mono. And so we listened to all three just for comparison, because there's stuff that's on this disc that's not on this disc, that's not on the third disc. There's mono only things. There's different stereo things in the different discs. So it's almost like, okay. So I ripped it like a week or so ago, but we finally got around to listening to it because he had time off. But yeah, so the point is, I really don't want to talk about CDs. I don't really want to talk much anything. Just rambling thoughts. Almost like this is a pre-shrink session. I'm basically talking to myself the way I would talk to a micro cassette recorder. But and that's the thing with the micro cassette recorder, and with this YouTube in a way. Even if no one ever hears my micro cassette tapes, or I never go back to them, or no one watches the stream, whatever, there's still that peace of mind. Well, I wasn't just talking to myself. I recorded it to a tape, or I put it on the internet. That makes it more legit than just talking to myself. At least I think part of it too is, there's a record of it in case. Whereas I have all these thoughts in my head, and I don't take the time to write them down or talk them out. And it's almost like they go away. At least this way you have that peace of mind of knowing there's, some kind of documentation. And in many ways, this is sort of like a videographic microcassette tape, with the internet being the photo album or or whatever. All the collection is there. But yeah, so, yes, that's good too. The shrink prologue, whatever you want to call it. But it's structured because I will be ending this when the time is right. And I don't know if Brocy is going to join us or not. We'll wait and see. I don't care. It's I was actually I was thinking, because we had that loaf that I called it a chop steak, that 2.5 pounds beef, 1 pound sweet sausage, and My brother's like, it was good, but we don't want hamburgers because we just had that and we had the steak. So I was thinking maybe grilled cheese. I don't know if we have any cheese or not. I see the bread. Maybe put some grilled cheese on the grill. But by the time I get done with my shrink is like 6:15 to 7 o'clock. By the time I get done with him, it might be way too dark to grill. But I'm tempted to make some grilled cheese on the grill. I don't think I've ever done that on the grill. Grilled cheese is more the thing I do on the stovetop range. Like, it's more of a wintertime dish. I don't really eat grilled cheese in the summer, but weather's getting a little cooler, so maybe we'll do. I'm like, where are we going to eat tonight? We're going to sub, get a sandwich, go to Wawa or Quick Check or one of these or 7-Eleven. I don't know. So many things, and so much that's not getting done, and I actually haven't played it. I'm still very stuck in the past. I got Civ 2 on my Windows 95 computer, Civ 3 on this Windows XP computer. My brother is Civ 4, and I bought Civ 5. I loaded, I think I could reload the computer. Civ 5 is somewhere in this room. I never got past 5, but I'd like to. Maybe. I've been playing on Chieftain and Civ 2 for like fucking 30 years. It's kind of funny. But with the shrink, I don't know. There's the things I want to talk about. And it is, it does tire you out. I know streaming does tire me out, just like talking to him does. Even if you think you're just sitting there, maybe all the thinking, maybe the having to be quasi-social, it does create that sense of, oh man, I'm getting tired, I'm getting bored. And I'm sober right now, by the way. I'm not drinking because I got up later than I should have, and so I haven't had my first alcohol today. This is non-alcoholic, unsweetened iced tea, the Pure Leaf. So, a structured sit-down sober stream, parentheses, shrink prologue, or I should make it the alliteration: structured sit-down sober stream, pre-shrink. Well. And I was talking to Dev Pike about this because Dev Pike and Todd were like, you should dump this guy. And after I went to go see him last week, I was already thinking that myself. I wouldn't say I feel better, but I feel like to start over again, to find another guy who may or may not work out, I'd have to start from scratch. I don't like that. It's like I've invested. It's almost like an emotional time investment thing. And I can speak my mind with this dude. If I say, man, that nigger bitch tried to run me over, that fucking piece of shit, tall fag tried to strangle me in the liquor store. He's, oh, who said that? I think some of these younger shrinks would be. You can't say that. The political correctness. He's just some old kike who wants his shekels. So he's pretty easy going with that. I like the fact that I can speak my mind. But no, he's not really helping much. And now it's like, oh, Christ, he's not going to help me get neat bucks probably, if anything. But that's what I want to tell him today. I want to say, I'm going to read him that thing I read on my last stream. I'll tell him it's from some autism site or something, which it kind of is, and just say, this is how it's like, this, he's never going to get it, but it's going to take a while when I start over with a new shrink, yeah. And then what if that turns into another, this guy's even worse, and I got to start again, all that time, wasted. This is true, Monique, Jasmine, but, I'm kind of doing that now in a way. Like I used to talk to microcassette recorders. Instead of just talking out loud, I guess the microcassette recorder legitimized it, but also gave me, I'm not just talking to myself, I'm recording it, but also that sense of the thought is there if I want to go back to it. Instead of just a thought I thought or I spoke out loud, which, in the ether, this I still have a copy of. Just kind of like these streams are really just for me, just talking my thoughts out. But yeah, sometimes it's nice. Other times it's kind of a chore. But, I do want to see him today. I'll see where it goes. Because I'm curious. I'm going to ask him. I only met him for the first time in person last week. And he's not. His office isn't too close. I wouldn't want to go there every week. But I kept saying to him, I said, come on, man. I want to meet you in real life because virtual is different than real life. You know who I am. You know my name. You know what I look like. But you've never seen me in 3D. And I told him when I went to go see him, I said, listen, when I see you next week, meaning today, on the internet again, give me your impression. So when I left his office, I said, listen, you just met me in the flesh. Sleep on it, digest it. Maybe something will strike you like, wow, he did say, it was interesting. He said, I was bigger than he thought. And he was shorter than I thought. I told him, you look much, I was honestly, you look much older in real life. I mean, we know he's in the 70s, but I guess the bad connection makes his face look smoother. In real life, he's just a frail old man. He looks worse than my parents. My father had a stroke. This guy honestly looks worse. He looks very frail, and he's short. He must have shrunk because he told me he was 5'9". And I thought I was 5'9", but I was taller than him. Not that I really care, but he was like, "You're a big." I thought you were. I'm like, and I asked, I said, "What do you mean big? Tall wise or width wise? I'm fatter than you thought." And he said both. So that was kind of, but but then we have known each other online virtually enough that I feel I can speak with him this way. If this is my first time going to his office, I'd be a little different because I'd be feeling it out. But I'd never, you see in movies all the time, guy lays on the couch, doctor, I think I'm crazy. I never had that. It's all been virtual. So that was nice, and maybe I'll do it again. Maybe if he's cool with it, maybe I'll bring my brother sometime. You give me my brother in her life because my brother's been he's been invited to I think my shrink. I bring my brother on every now and then. If my brother's home and he feels like it, he's usually at work. Today he's off, and it's a later session. So I said to my brother, "So listen, you can join me if you want. If not, who cares?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll think about it." But my brother has joined on occasion, and I think my doctor actually likes it because it's like one of those. I get a break from him. I get a break from OC. There's someone else here, and I'll try to bounce off my brother. But just to not have to deal with me. But my brother even said, kind of like you were saying, Jasmine. My brother was like, I've heard all your problems and your stories. Your mother, our There we go. I done broke the internet. I done broke it. Yeah, no. Well, like I said, it's a structured stream. But yeah, that was weird. I haven't had that happen in a long time. I am using an XP computer now that Windows 10 is becoming obsolete. And this browser, what's it called? Supremium, because none of the browsers, it's all forced obsolescence. This premium browser still works in XP, but every time I try to log into anything like Google or whatever, it says you might be a bot. Prove you're human. How many buses do you see? What those stupid things. So it's like, yeah, I done broke the internet. So I was in the middle of something, but I don't know if Jasmine's still here. But it's like she was saying. I wanted to say, my brother had said. He said, "OC, listen, I've heard all your fucking stories, and you're bitching and you're moaning, and our mother, when we lived with her, heard it all. So it's nice that, someone else, you can dump this on someone else. So in that sense, talking to the shrink is good. And that kind of sucks because, like, this was just supposed to be a very take it easy, no big deal. And I can't even have nice things. It's only be a little hour long, not even 45-minute stream, and I have to go dead. But I as I've learned, I actually learned back when my brother and I were on Todd a few years back. We broke the internet. It froze up. I guess the feds didn't like our conversation, but the stream kept going. So the stream will keep going even when there's some disconnection problems. So I'm back, but it doesn't matter. If people went bye-bye, that's fine. There wasn't really anyone here to begin with, and I'm just sort of rambling. It just pissed me off because it fucks up the flow. It kind of reminds me, like I was saying with the microcassette tape. Every now and then it would happen where I'd be talking to the microcassette tape, and click! It was the end of the side. Had to turn the tape over. And if I was in the middle of a thought, that would be like, so hey, even with new technology, we still have those problems. Remember, I talked to the microcassette tape. I loved how it's analog, man. It's better sound. It wasn't that. It was just, I could feel the gears. I knew if it was on or off. You can't do it with a cell phone. Am I recording? Am I not? What am I talking to? I mean, and I remember like when we get to the end of the tape, I turn the tape over. Same thing. This is kind of like turning the tape over. I don't know why. Everything was total frozen. But here we go. So. Endymion is a guy older than me. He's pushing. I think he's 50 or will be 50. Grew up in Mississippi. Now lives in California, sunny Southern California. So Endymion is a male. This is why I like these streams. We get to know each other. But right now, I'm just, like I said, we just had an internet problem. The stream kept going, but I wasn't here. I'm just rambling. A structured sit down, sober, no beer. I said sober. Structured sit down, sober stream. As Thule said. Pre-shrink. I'm going to see my shrink in about half hour, 45 minutes. So this is just my, I'm not sure what to eat. So just a nice distraction. I was talking about this and that, and but we'll see if it freezes up again. Hey, bear with me here. It's an old shitty computer. A structure. Yeah, I got to add sober. I haven't had anything to drink today yet. Well, my unsweetened, non-alcoholic iced tea, Pure Leaf, I think it's called. You've seen the bottles with the orange cap that I love so well. Gotta go back to brewing it myself because it is expensive, but damn, it's good. No, I just sort of, rambling about just killing time. What I want to talk with my shrink, it did piss me off when I saw him in the flesh for the first time last week. I asked him, I said, well, what made you? Because I've been asking quite some time. I said, listen, man, I'd like to meet you at least once. And he was always like, oh. At one point, he told me this months ago, he's like, oh, if it happened to you, you'd have to wear a mask. So he was even like. He's all afraid of, dying. And I can see why. He's much frailer. But he didn't make me wear a mask. I guess he's gotten over that. This was months ago. And I asked him, so what made you finally agree to see me? Well, I'm opening up my office. A lot of people keep saying they want to come in person, which is interesting. Because I keep telling you, you're the shrink. Don't you understand? It doesn't matter how much technology we have. There's still something, especially neurotypicals more than spurgs, but we're human beings. At some point, we're going to want to meet you in the flesh. Like I was curious. I wanted to meet James, and I did. My brother and I. Dumb. And I wanted to meet him, and I finally got a chance to. It's like, I know you're a scared old man, but, people. So he claims others have wanted to do it. And I asked him, I said, if I live closer, I'm not going to come to his office every day. Maybe I'll go back in a few months. We'll see what happens if I'm still with him. But I said, if I live close, because his office is about like an hour or so away. He's not close by. It's always been virtual. And I said, but if I did live, let's say I live right across the street, is the office like open permanently now? He's like, well, yeah, I'm working on it. Some people, yeah. So I'm not the only one who wants, in-person visit. But I told him, I said, listen, just sleep on it, digest it. When I left his office last week. And next week when I see you online, tell me if you got some impression. He mentioned something about, he thought my staring was intense in person, the way I looked at him. And again, I'm like, well, I do know who you are. We've known each other on the internet, so it's not like you're a total stranger. He thought I had an intense glare. And he thought I was taller and fatter, wider in real life than he imagined I'd be. And he looked much older. I think I'm resharing this because I don't know if this is even going through or if getting cut off or whatever. But it was strange how it froze up. But No, Dubsy, I feel blessed that you're here. It's always a blessing when you show up. You get me sober and just killing time before my shrink. I'm getting one of these weird connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging in your okay, let's see. Hold on. As long as it continues. What's interesting, me just being sober. Like I said, it's like Thule said. What do you call it? A pre-shrink prologue or something like that, or prologue. This is the prologue to my. It's like a pre-session session. I'm sober. I'm talking. There are people here, but I'm really talking to the camera and the microphone the way I used to talk to a microcassette tape. Just thoughts and ideas and just what's coming to mind. And I want to get things done. I'm getting nothing done. The anxiety doesn't go away. The fear doesn't go away. The pointlessness that what I read in my stream the other night. It's like there's just that. Oh, where's my? Hold on a minute. Oh, there's. Because I copy pasted the URL to the USB. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down. I can't see my shrink here. It'll freeze up and fall apart. So I'm going to go down to the study, the little office down there, and because that computer has the right there is the modem and the router, and it plugs directly in. There's no Wi-Fi, and that's a more modern computer. So I'll switch computers when the time comes. But it's nice to stay in my room and the safety of my lair, which is a dump, yes, but. And just drinking non-alcoholic, unsweetened iced tea out of my. But this is not interesting. This is just me talking to a microcassette tape. But instead of having to go through old tapes and shit, the tape player won't work. Here, it's all just stored on the internet, so I can look it up later, or not. We are so back because my shrink isn't until 6:15, so. The prologue continues. Would you call it a pre-shrink prologue? I gotta add sober to the title. Structured sit down, pre-shrink sober stream or something like that. We'll get the alliterations. We might go off again. We might go. I don't know why that happened. The whole thing froze up. I know the stream will keep going, but I don't know why the whole thing fucking froze up. I had to restart. Haven't had that problem. This is only the third or fourth time streaming from my room in recent weeks. I'll change it when I'm done. Actually, can you change during? No, I'll wait till I'm done. But yes, there's that anxiety. There's that even thinking what I want for dinner. Even like going out in the public is like getting to be. I'm becoming agoraphobic. And my shrink did say, well, it's a vicious cycle where you're not doing anything, so you feel anxious, which then makes you feel more anxious. And when you try to do something, it's like a vicious cycle. And I'm going to have to get a job. I had an on-the-phone interview. I don't know if I mentioned this. Maybe I did. I'll mention it again. I had this on-the-phone interview. There was one job. There's that one night I did a sit-down stream, and the stream was just background. I was downstairs, and I was applying to various jobs, if anyone saw that. It was just me. The stream was more of a background thing for me, and one of the jobs I saw, it was local. It's like the next town over. It was a driving job, and it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they wanted like 6 p.m. to 4:30 in the morning, which is fine because I'm a night owl anyway, and 4 days on, 10-hour shifts basically, 40 hours a week, and you get 3 days off, and weekends mean nothing to me. I'd rather like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off because I got to go to a doctor. Or, when I used to take my parent, not that I do it anymore, but when I was looking after my fucking stroke victim father. So I'd rather have, weekends are meaningless to me. And it paid well. The lady was telling me, oh, yeah, you start at 6, and then after, I think it was 8 o'clock till 6 in the morning, you get an extra $1. So I think it was a little more than minimum wage. It's not a high-paying job. It was like $17, and maybe you get $18.50. But most of my shift would be, after 6 p.m., but before. Oh, sorry, after 8 p.m. at night, but before 6 a.m. in the morning. So most of my shift would be differential pay, and on weekends, the whole thing. So I'm like, oh, that sounds good. And she asked, I told her about, I used to drive auto parts, drove a cab, and blah, 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 and this and that. And it seemed to go well, and the lady said, okay. I said, listen, I'd love to work for you guys, but either way, she was, yeah, because she's in North Carolina. She does hiring for the whole district. She said she'd call me back this week, the week we're currently in. And I said, yeah, I'd love to work for you, but either way, please call and let me know. And maybe I was naive. I thought I would have heard from her by now either way. I didn't want to sound too desperate. The job sounds interesting, but it's like I didn't want to call her prematurely. I spoke to her last Wednesday. Yesterday was the 1 week anniversary. I guess I'll just call her tomorrow and I'll say hi. And maybe she'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've been busy," or "I was in the hospital," or maybe she has no plans to. Because the next round would be, if she approves me, I would go to the local place, and they'd interview me, and then I'd presumably start working. And I guess on these phone interviews, no one has to see my face, but I'll go in person and meet the actual people. But this bitch never got back to me. It's been over a week, so now what? You know what I mean? Yes, I agree. There's some a broken clock. I don't think the shrink is always wrong, but is he really helping me? I don't know. It's like, if you want to help me get neat bucks, which he probably doesn't. Now he knows I want it. He's mature. But like I said, I don't have to start over. To start over with him, not with him, with another shrink from scratch. I mean, 50-50. We'll see where it goes. We'll see. Hello, doggo. How are you? Good luck with your surgery. Something about your knees. Anyway, so yeah, just a structured sit down, sober. Almost like a session before a session, so to speak. But just sharing ideas and thoughts. Again, no alcohol, sober, just rambling. Maybe, but like I said, I do want to apply for neat bucks. It's not a pipe dream, and now it's like there's almost a deadline. I'd love to try to get neat bucks. We gotta get out of this house, and I Social Security isn't going to help my brother pay the rent here. SSD I would, but it might take years to get on. So I need to have a job on paper so we can rent a place that's cheaper, and then then quit and try to apply, because I know it's. Thank you, Jasmine. Like you said, it's good sometimes to talk to someone. In this case, like I used to talk to Mike, it's just good to talk my thoughts and feel like instead of talking to thin air, it's being recorded, for someone or for myself later. Even if I never go back to it, it's there. It's more legit than just talking to myself for thin air, having a thought that I forget about. Maybe things come up as you talk. You get repetitive. Maybe that one or two little diamonds in the rough come out. We had to pay rent again because the first of the month, and we had to pay. I'm a neat in the sense that I'm not working or in education, but I don't need neat bucks. So I'm mooching off my brother who can't afford this place, and this house is falling apart, and just and it's my fault. I know intellectually, but it's like, and then my shrink doesn't get it. I can't just bring myself to do. It's like I know it sounds like a corny cop out. Oh, I'm allergic to hard work, but it's like the fear and anxiety when society wouldn't let me exist. It's almost like if the rules don't apply to me, if I don't get the same rights and respect and treatment as everybody else, if these crazy things can happen to me, it's like how can I be expected to? It's like I'm not even a real person. So. Maybe I should tell that to the shrink, but he's going to say, well, you got to try. And, of course, like I said, he's in his 70s. He just wants his shekels. He's going to be like, you should try to you're still young. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm young to you because you're fucking, 70. How old is he? He's going to be 74. I think he's 73 or 74. And I'm 43 going on 44. So it's like, yeah, I'm 30 years younger. So to you, he looked like the crypt keeper in real life. He looked much older. He looks old on camera, but he looked like the crypt keeper in real life. He was much older. I guess there's a smoothing effect with the camera. He looked like a crypt keeper. I even told him, I was honest with him. I said, you do look older in real life. He goes, oh, really? Oh. But someone like that, yeah, it's easy for a 70-something to say 40 is young. Right, exactly. It's all a matter of perspective. Yeah, it's young to you, old man, because you're in your 70s. I was 43 30 years ago. I'd love to be 43 again. Yeah, but I mean, by the time you're in your 40s, you already had your PhD and your life established. It's like, I'm not some fucking 20-year-old kid. You can get it's not one size fits all, you motherfucker. I just tell them that. And I'll forget when I get down there. But what did I say? So, yes. Okay, a good cathartic, get whatever off my chest kind of stream. Yeah, I just wanted to ramble until it was time. I got, half hour? I'll probably kill this soon. Is there anything else I wanted to ramble about? Well, he kind of pissed me off because what I'll do, and you can say this is a Spurg thing, what I'll do when our session ends, I'll just stare at him because I got nowhere to go. So I let him end the session, and he's always like, I even brought this up when I saw him in person. He's like, "Well, you're the only one who does that. How come, I got to end the session?" I said, "Well, I got nowhere to be. You got another client? By all means, our time is up. You got your shekels for the hour. You can end it whenever you want. I'm not going anywhere." "Yeah, but it makes me feel like an asshole." I said, "No, I'm giving you the privilege." He was like, "All my other clients are quick to hang up. Click, 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 click." I'm like, "Well, I'm giving you the one opportunity you don't get with anyone else." "No, it makes me feel like an asshole." And yeah, maybe I'm being a bit of a dick when I do that, but it's true. I have nowhere to be. And I know. Even if he doesn't have a client, he's such a Jew. He doesn't want to go over. If he's not getting paid for it, he doesn't want to be there. Okay, so you feel free. You're not doing anything. You're not hurting my feelings. We're over you, and I have nowhere to be. The session's over. Want to end it. Otherwise, we can sit here and stare at each other. He doesn't like that. I put him in that position, and I'm like, well, you're getting paid enough. You can fucking end the stream. No, I'm not really into trannies. No, I mean, I heard once that one time, this years ago, they said a lot of those chorus girls in Las Vegas are trannies. And I guess from a distance, you might say, "Oh, she's a pretty girl," but no, I wouldn't actually be into the wrong parts down there. But who knows? Maybe if there's a really pretty girl up on stage, I'd say, "Oh, she's kind of cute," and then you get up close and so. But no, I'm not particularly into transgendered gender. But I actually think it's kind of. I mean, listen, I'm actually a live and let live kind of guy. If people want to do what they want to do, fine. But it's kind of disgusting. Chopping off your genitals isn't going to make you the opposite sex. It's almost, you can't change your genetics. You hear so many horror stories. I think people who transition and the people who are attracted to those who transition. I have mental problems too, but it's a different type of mental problem. So no, it's for all my problems in life. Gender bending is not really. I don't know I can actually see that here. What's it look like on YouTube? All I get in StreamYard is a little box. But no, I'm not into trans girls. Are you trans? Are you transgendered? Are you thinking about transitioning to become a girl? I know you're still young. You're like, 20-something? I'm always wary of teenagers who come here. The kids who come here, a good man for doing what? When are you going to Africa, Totem? Right. Destroyed by Foids. And I admire his honesty. I do. I admire his honesty. But he and I don't know what his I honestly don't know what his problem was. I used to get along with him. But, someone like him, I don't even know what his problem is. I don't hate the guy. He got weird. He's another one. Like I said, we all have different mental problems. I never said he was a normie. I don't think he's a spurg. Clearly, he has his issues. If his biggest hangup is I can't get a girl, so now I'm gonna date trans. He's got his own set of mental problems, but it's not really what being a spurg is. Being a spurg is this social. It's like they want to ruin you. It's not even just like let him be. It's like that destroy. And Mebanks on. I don't know if you got my Discord on Discord. Mebanks was asking me, and it wasn't a private chat. It was on that OC, whatever it's called, that OC server. He asked me about smoking cigarettes. Or actually, he asked me, what did you ask me? Did peer pressure lead to me vaping? And no, vaping didn't really become a thing until I was in my 30s. You're my age, man. Vaping, as we know, it didn't become practical until we were 30-something. I used it to replace cigarettes. I started smoking cigarettes to get away from people. It was a great excuse. Like as a teenager, if my uncle came over, I'd steal a cigarette. Sometimes I'd try to get people to buy me cigarettes. Sometimes I get lucky and I'd buy them myself, or other times they would card me and I couldn't. I used to have at the diners those vending machines. Cigarettes used to be easier to get, but I didn't really start becoming a heavy smoker until I was in my 20s. It was an excuse. Up, gotta go, gotta be alone with a cigarette. So for me, smoking wasn't a hangout with the others, be one of the cool kids. It was gotta go for a smoke break. It was a good excuse to distance myself, take a temporary time out. From the social environment. Apparently, Mebanks. Now, I think you've been going back and watching my stuff, so why are you asking me questions I've answered 1,000 times? I got a very short video. I think it's actually called Carlsberg. It's very, very short. I think it's only like a minute, not even, and that will answer all your questions. Go back and find that Carlsberg video. That will answer. It'll take you less time to watch it than it does to type that question. All right, but and then with vaping, it's great now because you can't light up a cigarette without anyone, without everyone would know. You know what I mean? So you can't sneak a cigarette, sneak a vape. They came after me for vaping at that last job. And I got to tell my stories and do my videos, but they came after me. But yeah, it's like you don't. I remember like cigarette smoke doesn't bother me. I actually like it better now. Now that I've switched to vape, I actually like the smell of cigarettes, tobacco. It doesn't bother me, but I really smell it now. Like when I was a smoker, I didn't realize how much my clothes, my jacket, like in wintertime, I didn't realize how saturated. You kind of, I really couldn't smell it. Now I smell it. To me, it smells good. A lot of people don't like it, but you can tell when someone's had a cigarette. I can say I couldn't back when I was a smoker. I couldn't tell. I remember like some jobs they would say, okay, wintertime. If you're a smoker, you got to put your coats on this rack because we don't mix them with the non-smokers, and I can never tell the difference. But now that I vape, I can definitely tell, okay, you were having a cigarette. I can smell it in your clothes, but it doesn't bother me. But yeah, I can definitely smell it better now. I can taste you. I don't mind a vape sometimes. The images it shows. I can taste it on my lips and smell it in my clothes. Cinnamon and sugary and softly spoken lines. You never lies. You never know just how you look through other people's eyes. I don't think it's as bad as they say. And I always remember when Frank Zappa had cancer, I think, but it wasn't smoking related. I think it was prostate cancer that they didn't catch in time. He was dying of prostate cancer. And one of his last interviews, he's smoking. And the lady interviewing him said, I don't want to sound like one of these health police people. Zappa goes, go ahead. Well, I can't help but think that, you have cancer and yet you're sitting here smoking cigarettes. Weren't you ever discouraged? And he said, no. And she goes, why not? And he said, well, I don't think all these warnings are true. I think it's overblown. And to me, tobacco is food. Nicotine and tobacco, a cigarette is food. Tobacco is my favorite vegetable. I always love that line. Tobacco is my favorite vegetable. The late, great Frank Zappa. I always said Zappa. Frank Zappa. Late, great Frankie Zappa, who was, I guess, an American treasure, a national icon. And I remember when I was a kid, early mornings, like on Saturday morning, there was this TV show, this old guy, I think it was called Candyland or Peppermint, old guy with a straw hat and there was a little puppet worm. Apparently, that guy's dead now. Apparently, he was the father of the singer from, I never knew that. It was kind of, you know that show I'm talking about? What was that show? I don't know. And this is why I say The Broken Clock. Yes, I agree, Totem. The guy, he's definitely one of my favorite musicians in terms of his intellect and his beliefs and philosophies. I don't know. Look it up. I don't know. Wait, which song are we talking about? The one I was just singing? They were all in love with Di, and they were drinking from a fountain that was pouring like an avalanche coming down the mountain. Possibly. I don't know. I don't mind the sun sometimes. No, I've never seen. I'm not really crazy about his kids. I think his kids. This is the downside. The kids of wealthy people get spoiled. I think his kids live in La La Land because I guess it's not their fault. Their father had the money and the connections, and I don't think the kids have the same kind of life experience, a lived experience that their father did. Possibly, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like I always said, if the the preacher man or the priest gets up there and he goes, stealing is bad, and then he steals from the collection plate, he's a hypocrite. What he's doing is wrong, but the message is still good. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, the priest is an asshole, but that doesn't mean the message of not stealing is bad. Same with Zappa. Even if Zappa was some dick in real life, some of his thoughts and quotes are fairly brilliant. Did you meet Dweezil? What about Moon Unit? Did you meet Moon Unit? All right, so this was a nice preset. Well, I guess I got another 10 minutes or so. I guess this is a nice distraction from my. It's like but before I go see my shrink, I need another session. Then seeing the shrink can't be that good. So maybe this is like, oh God, is like seeing the shrink a chore or something I dread? I don't know, but I don't know. Well, is something going on with the money? Didn't the wife died? It was her name Gail, I think. She died recently-ish, and there was all kinds of fighting over the money. I'm not crazy about the kids. The wife was the one in charge, and I guess she died, and I don't know what happened, but The point is, whether Zappa and I would have been buddies or not, I don't know. Like I always said, like about Todd, my hero, I didn't want to be his friend. If he and I went to school together, maybe we'd get along as acquaintances. I'm not talking about a friendship. I'm talking about like the brilliance. Todd and Zappa have brilliant minds. I don't want to play tennis with Todd. I don't want to, go on tour with Zappa, but I think their philosophies are brilliant. That's why I don't think Totem fully understands. I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for either the genius philosophy. Yes, Zappa was. I always liked him. He was one of the more intellectual, and I agree with his points. A lot of what he had to say. Oh, Zappa? Yeah, he probably would be. I don't know. I could see Zappa supporting Trump in his first term and then like turning on, because a lot of people are turning on. I think Trump, Biden was too old 4 years ago. Trump is 4 years younger. He's too old now. He goes on about DEI, but now that you look at his whole freaking cabinet is a bunch of Indians. He said we have too much government waste, so he creates a department. We have too many governmental departments. Let me create a new department, Doge, and he put that Indian guy Ramaswamy and that South African guy Tesla, whatever his name, fuck his name. He put them in charge, and they both bailed on him. It's like, so I don't think Trump is fit anymore, but I don't think Biden was fit. We've had two unfit presidents, so senile old people. This got into a weird political direction. Again, you're a Swede or Norwegian. It's different. When the dude is like saying those thoughts we've all had openly, publicly, you're not alone. We don't talk about these things. He was one of the first to talk. I don't care if they put on a fucking message board. You can read anything on the internet. When a person actually speaks their mind and says, yeah, I've always felt this way, and you're not the only one. Don't feel like you're alone. It's refreshing. And then all the neat buck stuff, Social Security, it doesn't matter. Your baby boomer parents told you one thing. Deep down in your bones, it's wrong. You're not the only one. Don't feel like you're alone. Todd and Frank Zappa are two of my heroes. What would Zappa say about George Carlin? Carlin's another one I admire, but I think what Zappa would say about Carlin saying about Trump. Well, are we assuming they're both alive in this scenario? Like Zappa's still alive and Carlin's still alive? I think Zappa was a bit younger than about 10 years younger than Carlin. So I think what Zappa would say, because Carlin would say things like, the world is a freak show. The world is what? What did he say? He would say the world is all just, a peep show or a freak show. And when you're an American, you get front row seats. I think Zappa's counterpoint would be, it's easy to say when you're fucking, in your 90s and ready to die. But, so I think Zappa would actually be critical of Carlin's cynical nature, because Carlin, just like my shrink who tells me, you're still young. Well, yeah, to you I'm young because you're fucking 73 years old. So I think because of that 10-year difference, I think Zappa would say, well, it's easier for Carlin to dismiss things because he's knocking on heaven's door there. Well, in a way, both of them get to live in a world that I don't. Zappa was a talented musician who made millions. And Todd, he's the next best thing. If you can't make millions or win the lottery, you get neat bucks, and so they're both in positions of financial security, wanting for nothing. One was a millionaire, the other, the government pays for everything. So they're both my heroes in that sense. But what they would or wouldn't do doesn't apply to me yet, unless they hit the lottery or get neat bucks. It's not an apt question. Yeah, it could. Yeah, you're right. He could have just been lucky. But it seems like something worth trying for, as opposed to my fucking shrink who's like, you got to get back on the horse, get a better job. Yeah. I'm like, I don't have the interest to do that at all. At least neat bucks gives me some kind of copium. It's a better goal to work. It's like some people want to be a doctor or a lawyer. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a plumber, electrician. Or I want to be, a skydiver. I want to be on neat bucks. It's an admirable. Well, not exactly, Totem. It's more akin to saying, all right, this dude struck gold in Colorado. Good for him. Hey, I happen to own land in the same area. Maybe there's no gold there, but I own the land. I might as well check it out. Maybe I'll get lucky, maybe I won't. which would be different than saying, I have no ties to Colorado. Let me rush out there and buy some land, gold rush. No, let's say, yeah, my grandma died and left me a plot of, left me like 1,000 acres right in the same area the gold was. You know what? Maybe I should see if I get lucky. That's how I saw Todd. He might have gotten lucky, but it might be more realistic for a spurg like me with all my fuck-uppery than it would be for normies like you. You know what I mean? Yeah, so again, it's like there are degrees of analogy. Todd got lucky, but I've got a plot of land. Maybe I'll get lucky too, maybe I won't. A lot of you won't even have the access to buy the land, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Did Todd himself say that? Because does Todd even know who? One thing I got to say, Todd was never a very big music guy. He got into the Smiths in his 40s, so Todd was never a music dude. Does he even know who Todd Rundgren is? Or he only knows it because the name Todd? Yeah. So Todd's father saw. Is that? Or are you just being silly? Or is that why they named him Todd? His dad loved Todd Rundgren so much. Hello, it's me. I've thought about us for a long, long time. Maybe I think too much, but something's wrong. There's something here doesn't last too long. I can't sing, but Mebanks pretends he likes my singing, so I'm singing for Mebanks. Sometimes I shouldn't think of you as mine. Mebanks, I gotta tell you, it's important to me that you know you are free, 'cause I'd never want to make you change for me. That goes for all you starlings. Think of me. You know that I'd be with you if I know you're being silly, but actually, it actually sounds like it could be plausible. I'm Todd. I don't know much about music, but my dad liked this guy named Todd Rundgren. That's why he named me Todd. That actually seems plausible. I can see that happening. I don't know who this guy is, but my dad went to a concert and he liked the name, so he named me after this Rundgren guy. That actually seems like, believable. That I can actually believe. Todd might not know who Todd Rundgren is, but I can see, oh, you're pregnant? What should we name him? We want to name him Jimmy or Billy or Frankie? No, let's name him Todd after Todd. That seems like plausible. I want to believe too. It's fun to believe. Well, it's like saying, why do you like vanilla ice cream better than strawberry or whatever? It's the one I call Shamrock with the barley hop and the crown goes down so easily. So it's good. The elephant one tastes it tastes disgusting. And we have a couple Danes who come around, and one of them, Denmark guy who was on yesterday, he verified, he goes, yeah, in Denmark, the elephant one is for old people. If you want to buy a beer, you get the crown. That, the elephant one is considered cheap crap. Old people drink it, and alcoholics who are desperate. I need a beer, I don't care. He was telling me that, no, it's not just you, OC. He claims that even in Denmark, the green crown Shamrock is preferred over the elephant. The elephant is for the old people and alcoholics who are desperate. It doesn't taste as good. It's been a while. It tastes bitter and watery. Maybe it's supposed to be the light version, whereas the other Carlsberg has that rich, so. But you're still too young. I'll tell you, when you turn 21, why don't you go to liquor store? Because I think it's a rite of passage for all. I'm not even talking about underage drinking, because when you drink underage, you take whatever you can get. When you're 21 and you can buy alcohol legally, rite of passage, you go to your liquor store for your first trip and you do a smattering, buy maybe a 4-pack of one Carlsberg, 4-pack of the other, maybe try this. You see what beers you like and don't like, just like anything else. Who's Mr. Levy? I missed something here. That's what I was thinking. Roland Boland. What's his name? Mark Boland was in T-Rex. His wife was a black American, so Roland's a mulatto, and she did actually really like it. Soft Cell had the song "Tainted Love" in the 80s. She did the original version. It was more of a Motown version. Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. I've got to. Not the British band Soft Cell. I forget what her name was. She was a black American, and she had a minor hit with Tainted Love back in the 60s. Tainted Love. Yeah, don't touch. It was more soulful, and they blamed her for killing him because she's an American. When she wasn't used to driving on that side of the road, she crashed into a tree. And after Mark died, she took Roland and fled. But I was thinking that Roland Boland. Like, should I mention it? Yeah, Roland Boland. But Roland himself said his father gave him that name not so much because the keyboard, but because the father wanted him to have a name that would really stick out. Your last name is Boland. Roland Boland kind of rhymes. It rolls along. So I don't think he ever said it was for the keyboard. I think he said that his father, Mark, said, we should give him a name that pops. No, I can't remember her name, but I have that song somewhere. It's on one of my mini mixtapes. Yeah, she did the original version of Tainted Love, went to England to do backup singing, got involved with Mark Boland, had the kid, Roland Boland, and she was driving the car when it crashed into that tree and Mark was killed. She survived. She unscathed. And remember, T-Rex is kind of I like T-Rex. I have a few of their albums. In America, T-Rex is like a one-hit wonder. They're best known for what? Like Get It On, Bang a Gong, Get On, which isn't even that good a song. Maybe, what was the other one? What was the other one? Metal Guru. Yeah, they were very big in England and in Europe and Japan. So when Boland was killed, the British were pissed. They're like, that nigga bitch from America, she killed our national treasure. And so she felt, I got to get out of here. She took her kid, went back to Detroit or whatever. Yes, so I don't know who wrote it, but the original recorded version was by a black American woman in the 60s. It was a soul song, and she eventually moved to England, married Mark Boland from T-Rex, had a kid with him, drove the car, crashed into a tree. He was in the passenger seat and died. I can't remember her name, but yeah, look it up. You can probably find it on YouTube, the original version of Tainted Love. I actually like it. It's like a nice, it's just typical Motown 60s soul song. Yeah. Yeah, I was saying before, I'll probably need to get a job soon to get to this house. I have a job on paper. SSI wouldn't be, for here, the rent is too high. SSI wouldn't even come close to covering half. So I need to get a job to get a different place and then apply for SSI, SSDI. Sure. So you're correct. And we don't care about the young folks talking about the old style. We don't care about the old folks talking about the old style too. All we care about our own folks talking about. All we care about is talking, baby, you, me, and you. That was I used to play that in retail. The name of the band was Peter, Bjorn, and John, or I forget what it was called. One of the guys, the names of the guys. One's name was Bjorn, Peter, Bjorn, and John. I always liked that song. And the chick. She was also Swedish. There's a duet, the guest appearance. She was in the Concretes. There's a change in the weather coming soon. There's a change right now. There's a change in the weather. We're gonna hold you and whisper sweet melodies in your ear, so you'll never be lonely. There's a change in the weather. The Concretes, the chick from the Concretes, joined Peter, Bjorn, and John, whatever the fuck the name was, for that one song. And we don't care about the young folks talking about our old style. We don't care about our own folks. However that goes. So yes, Bjorn. I get off soon. I can go, well, should I make it an hour? If I'll probably get off. Time flies when you're rambling about nonsense. And like I said, I'm sober today. No alcohol. I gotta go see my shrink. Maybe I'll come back on later, maybe not. I got to see I'm not hungry yet, but what we're doing for dinner. It's getting, as you can see, it's 6:10 p.m. in New Jersey and the Lehigh Valley, and the sun is starting to set here. We're a bit further east, Mebanks. In about 15, 20 minutes, it'll look like that. 15, 20 minutes, the sun will start to be setting over Lehigh Valley. Right here, it's starting to set here. So I don't know if I want to grill. It's getting too dark. It's too chilly. It got chilly. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. Maybe someday I will. I'm sorry. What was in Levi's commercial? The original Tainted Love. What are we talking about? You really went somewhere, but that's nice. We can drift along. Thoughts go here, they go there. See what happens. About what? About you? About me? You could be more. You're starting to sound like that asshole lone hiker. Don't talk in riddles. Riddles. Just totem out with it. Spit it out. What are you trying to say here, man? I learned something about myself. Learned something about you. Learned something about what Bjorn. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Spit it out. Don't talk in riddles. Like I was telling Horsehead the other day, repetition, unfortunately, is sometimes part of the game here. So yeah, if you got to repeat every now and then. When people ask me, which do you prefer, Carlsberg, Elephant, Carlsberg, Shamrock? That's when I say, well, I made a video on that, a very short video. Go back and watch it. But if you told me, if you name dropped once or whatever the fuck you're talking about, you can't expect us to remember that. Christ. I know enough about myself. I wish Beppis were here. She knew more about me than I did. She actually paid attention and memorized everything. So maybe instead of going back and watching my streams, you can have Beppis come on and like dictate whatever I got to learn about myself. But please stop speaking in riddles. This really isn't a stare thing, kind of, but not really. It's more of a there is an art and a science to streaming. It might not seem like it, but there is. So it's not really a stairs thing. No, you missed the point in this one. It's more of an art and science thing when it comes to repetition is the mother of all knowledge. Necessity is the mother of invention, and the mothers of invention. I think Frank Zappa was actually better when he was in that band before he went solo. One of my favorites. Yeah, I think like We're Only In It For The Money, brilliant album. I think I got a bunch of Zappa. Some of them were crap. We're Only In It For The Money. What's the one before that? Yeah, what's the one? We won't go for no more great Midwestern hardware. Was it Freak Out? Or it is Absolutely Free. He had an album called Absolutely Free and a song Absolutely Free, but the song wasn't on the album. But I was like, they won't go for no more great Midwestern hardware store philosophy that turns away from those aren't afraid to say what's on their minds. Doom, doom, doom. The left behinds of the great society. That was during the Lyndon Johnson years. So I don't think he was a fan of Lyndon Johnson, LBJ either. The left behinds of the great society. And we're seeing that with Trump now. The left behinds of Trump's attempt at a great society with this big, beautiful bullshit. But okay. Oh, gotta go see my shrink now. Maybe I'll be on later. Maybe I won't. Thank you, Starlings. Thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah, but if you think that, you don't understand the stairs analogy. So you don't even get the stairs analogy to begin with. We'll talk later. But you're right. I got to talk to my shrink. I imagine this Swedish chick. Never saw her face, but I thought she seemed so real. Ta-ta.